Welcome back, everyone. We're doing another fun episode of Indie Reads Aloud. I have so much fun with this program, you guys. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I do so I can continue to keep doing it because I just love this. Today, Jennifer Rains is coming all the way from Australia. Well, okay, not physically, but she's reading all the way from Australia with us today. Jennifer's been on the program several times before. She's an amazing writer. She's a delightful human being. You need to learn about her and read her books and keep her working so that I can continue to enjoy her work. That's what we need to do. This is very selfish, you guys. Welcome, Jennifer. I'm so glad to have you back.
Thanks, Diana. It's great to be back.
Jennifer is, as I said, lives in Australia, in Sydney, just outside Sydney. She writes sensuous contemporary romances set mostly, but not exclusively, in Australia. Some of them are Malta, Finland, New Zealand. She's a dreamer and an optimist. Her stories are a delicious cocktail of passion, mutual respect, and loyalty because she still believes in happily ever afters. And don't we all? I mean, it's all what we want, right? Jennifer is a member of the Romance Writers of Australia, and she's won so many awards, you guys. You got to go check out this list. I'm not going to read them all, they're in the show notes. You should go check them out. But to my count, you've won like, I don't know, 127 different awards. It's fabulous.
That might be an exaggeration.
Okay, but maybe.
A few,
Uh,
yeah.
So Jennifer lives in inner city Sydney, Australia, with the requisite number of partners, which would be one, and animals, which would be two. Although, if you had more, I'd still like you. Her desk overlooks a park, which nourishes her soul when she writes, raising her head from her keyboard. I love that idea of looking out over the horizon to what stories might be coming to you next.
Mm.
What a fabulous idea.
And,
What a
and and they do. There's a lot that happens in this park.
can imagine. So the story you're going to read today is Betrayal, which is book 3 of the Choosing Family series. I'm super excited about this. Not long ago, you were on the program reading from book 2, which was a lot of fun, and you left me on a cliffhanger, which means I need to learn how to read faster. Before we get into tonight's reading, I want to let everybody know that there is a listener advisory for mature situations. This is romance. So if you have little people, you might want to preview this episode before you let the little people listen, just because we want to be mindful of that. Jennifer, give me a rundown. This is book 3 in this series. I'm loving this series so far. What can we expect in this book?
Oh,
Without
well,
giving it away, of course.
that's right, without giving it away. Okay. So Betrayal is the second female identical twin. So the series started with 2 sets of identical twins. The first book had one male, one female twin became the couple. The second book was about the second brother, and this is about the sister, the last identical twin. And she is quite feisty. She's got a strong personality, and she's appeared in the first 2 books. And so there was quite a bit of pressure about writing her. People kept saying, what about Anna? What about Anna? What are you going to do? And so I had to give it a lot of thought with Anna, remembering the history of her upbringing, she and her sister, the twins. Her sister, their parents were fairly self-obsessive. Her sister retreated into writing romance and reading romance.
Okay.
She, in fact, became a bad girl for quite a
Whoops.
while. And so there were a number of things in her past, but the rock solid thing throughout was their loyalty to each other. And so there's a feeling that she's been betrayed. There's also a feeling with the man she meets, Hunter, that he's been betrayed. Well, there's a lot of betrayal. And what came to me was the thing that drove it in part was the notion that you have to be close to someone to betray them. So
Well,
think of,
yeah. Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
And so that's not just a lover. There are other people who should be close to you or are close to
absolutely.
you in your
Sure.
life. So there are parents, there
And
are
there's a
siblings.
sense of vulnerability there too, because you
That's
can't be betrayed unless you're vulnerable with somebody else.
that's right. That's right. You can't be betrayed unless you actually care. And
Yeah.
who are the people who might betray you, and in what circumstances might that happen? So I've got two very wary people here, and the idea is that love conquers that fear of betrayal. So building trust, but also loyalty.
Fantastic.
They're the things that need to be built for a relationship to last.
I love
And
this.
yeah, I've already shown in the first two books that Anna is fiercely loyal to her friends. So again, that just makes it very hard finding who's the guy for her.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a giant puzzle. I'm super intrigued now that you've given us that little preview. Please, when you are ready, Jennifer Rains, take the microphone and read aloud.
Betrayal, Chapter 1. Clutching a champagne flute of mineral water, Anna Turner turned away from the bar to face the marketing conference party crowd. Her penance, as representative of Changing Minds Creative Solutions at this exclusive venue overlooking Sydney Harbour, was to observe competitors and promote the superior skills of changing minds in brand management and product promotion across traditional and social media platforms. Ditch the scowl, Anna, her friend Beatrice Gomez whispered. We're here to soothe, not rouse the savage beast. I don't scowl, Anna beetled her brows. Remember that exercise at last year's conference with the face reading experts? Yes. Well, they claimed a company could increase client sign-ups with the right smile, and they rated my smile as winning. Emphasis on the smile, girlfriend. B looked her up and down. And they didn't see you in that dress. This old thing. Anna shrugged, and the decolletage on the flaming red figure-hugging short cocktail dress slipped a half-centimetre closer to her navel. The dress was a crude but effective tool for identifying the obvious lechers without saying a word. Seeing the stunned disbelief on that company exec's face remains one of the highlights of my short life. B didn't waste time on polite fictions, one of the reasons they were close friends. He couldn't believe you'd chosen that dress to tell him he didn't have a chance in hell of scoring with you. The sexist so-and-so deserved it, claiming his company would cancel their brand marketing contract because I wouldn't sleep with him. Did he miss several centuries of female emancipation? Anna infused scorn, disgust, and I'll kill him if I see him determination into her voice. Childhood drama classes had to have some benefits. There's steam coming out of your ears. I'm seriously pissed off. Anna lacked the patience to deal with sleaze tonight. I'd never have guessed, and a lot of people never guessed sweet-faced B did sarcasm. It's worse than when that idiot threatened me. Anna waved her drink in the air, and some sloshed over the rim, just missing her feet. Her stilettos continued the blood-red theme. His boss overruled him. Anyway, that was just money. Ah, money, B sighed. We don't care about money. B had to care about money, regularly helping her immigrant parents to pay their bills. This is more important than money. Anna curled her lip. Your childcare centre. B leaned closer and dropped her voice. I forgot. You were signing the lease for the premises today. Let me get you out of this crowd. With a few words and a smile, B navigated a path through the mass of people, away from the packed bar. She made a beeline for the windows overlooking the Sydney Opera House and Harbour Bridge, then tucked the two of them into a corner. This is quieter. Tell me. I was meant to sign the lease before the entire building was subject to a hostile takeover. Some infantile troglodyte in a feud with his equally infantile father. Who won? The son. And he cancelled all pending leases. From the few business blogs I checked, if one of them sniffs out a distressed estate, the other tries to beat him to the purchase. About as logical as teenage boys in a pissing contest. I'm sorry, honey, B commiserated. A new owner usually wants to negotiate their own leases. And if the original owner's in trouble, your lease might have gone pear-shaped in a few months anyway. That's what Antonio said. Anna had been with her boss, Antonio Perez, CEO of Changing Minds, long enough that when she'd approached him about the need for better childcare options for company staff, he'd given her the lead on finding a solution. What else did Antonio say? With 4 younger sisters, B listened to every version of a story before passing judgment. Sleep on it. We'll regroup in the morning. A perfectly rational assessment. Antonio was better at rolling with the punches than Anna was. Normally I love his positivity, but I've promised B. Although Anna's original promise to help hadn't been to the young mother currently on her team, but to 3 other women 2 years ago, one of whom was now dead. Tonight's dress was her roar of frustration at her failure. It's unlike you to promise before you have everything stitched up and in triplicate. A matter of hours before I signed the lease, due diligence complete. I was as sure as I could be, and Nadia is holding on by the skin of her teeth. Even with Antonio providing financial help, Nadia's childcare is at one end of town, her crisis accommodation the other, and commuting to the office is an isosceles triangle on steroids. The distances are killing her. Anna was hoping for a miracle before she had to tell the newly single mother the bad news. You can't save every woman trapped in an abusive relationship. B's pragmatism was as hard won as Anna's determination to make small differences. I'm not trying to save every woman, or even most women. One childcare centre is not a solution to domestic or partner violence. It's an option for a few women under pressure. Apart from Nadia, whom Anna would lose if she didn't pull a rabbit out of a hat, we have 2 other employees looking for work closer to their childcare. We don't want to lose them. What else did Antonio say? That the new owner might be financially stretched enough to welcome the offer of a long-term lease on 1 floor. He's got a point. You're right, and the property's perfect. Anna sighed. So I'll be charm personified when I try to reopen negotiations, even if the owner has an electronic calculator in place of a heart and a father fetish. Who bought it? B prepared for her meetings with meticulous care. H.S. Thompson was all the managing agent would give me. Who names their child after a famous dead journalist, for Pete's sake? B held up a hand. So why didn't you send an apology for tonight? Antonio wanted a presence and reminded me it was my turn to come. Cocktail parties loosened tongues and increased personal contacts. Anna repeated Antonio's encouragement. Networking, naughty and nice. B grinned. Bet you didn't tell him you were going to wear your Killing Eve dress. He's an understanding boss, but Antonio was present when you took that last dude down, and it probably wasn't in what he had in mind tonight. I'm wearing it tonight to exercise my rage, so I can renegotiate from a place of calm. Anna waved her hand from her head to her belly in a gesture of serenity. But you're right, I should go. On the basis that researching the buyer trumps glad-handing strangers. On the basis I might bite someone's head off when I'm meant to charm. Like the guy looking this way. Anna had been aware of him for a while. Now she put a hand on B's arm and adjusted their positions. Make it casual. Over my shoulder. About 2 o'clock. The guy with the lean and hungry look. Anna's pulse raced, a lick of interest curling through her body. He's just looking at this stage. B's husky contralto oozed intrigue. Who is he? I don't recognise him, but he wouldn't have got past security without an invite. B took a sip of her drink. mid-30s, tall, dark, broody rather than handsome, and on his own. He's perfected the stiffed back, imperious, don't mess with me look, out of place in a crowd like this. Do you want me to find out? Yes. Anna sipped her icy mineral water and waited a heartbeat. No. Well, that's clear. B flashed her dimples. Yes, because I should care if he's competition, and Antonio would expect me to. No, because I've exhausted my store of goodwill for rich, entitled entrepreneurs. You've never had any time for rich and entitled. B flicked a glance back toward the stranger. Although it's impossible to tell if someone's rich or an entrepreneur by their Rolex or bespoke suit these days. Think Mike Cannon-Brookes. But broody guy is a possibility. She wiggled her shoulders sexily. Be still, my beating heart. You want him? Anna rolled her eyes. I just got a little distracted, B sighed. But he looks way too complicated for my lifestyle. Anyway, returning to our topic. How do you figure HS is entitled? Because it's a raid. Anna bit her lip. The property wasn't on the market. He's made an unsolicited purchase. If you keep flouncing around like that, your dress will slip straight off your boobs and you'll create the kind of feeding frenzy you hate. Oh, my subconscious was sabotaging me. Anna used a drink as cover for a quick tug on a dress. I dressed with HS and Armageddon in mind. In this crowd, the only people likely to approach you will be people who don't know you and have minds turned to mush by lust. By contrast, B looked wholesomely sexy in a classic self-patterned powder blue jumpsuit. You've convinced me. Anna started to edge towards the door. I'll leave now. Warning, B stage whispered. Mr. 2 o'clock is coming this way. Damn. Despite her indifference to the lavish compliments from the face-reading experts, Anna summoned her sincere, interested, likely to instill confidence in the most cautious of clients, professional smile. The expert had never seen it paired with the dress. Hello. I don't believe we've met. His pickup line lacked originality, but the gravelly baritone could launch an entire collection of intimate apparel. He'd inherited a face of sharp angles, slashing cheekbones, and a chiseled jaw. Conventionally handsome, though she understood B's choice of broody. His dark chocolate gaze held her attention, despite her desperate need to escape. His eyes hinting at secrets he never intended to share. I'm Hunter. Is that your name or your current intention? B's gasp told Anna she'd actually asked the question out loud. His mouth quirked up. I'll let you find out. If you'll excuse me, I think I need a drink. B turned on her heel, balancing her almost full glass of wine carefully. I'm Anna Turner. She paused, her heels enabling her to be on eye level with the guy. I'm guessing you already know my name. I asked another guest. Why? You interest me. He inched closer, and the only clue he'd moved was the whiff of his sandalwood scent. I'm flattered, or I might be in some parallel universe. But you've caught me at the wrong time. I'm about to leave. Why don't I buy you? He considered her champagne flute half full of mineral water. Another drink, somewhere quieter where we can talk. Are you looking to share marketing tips? Antonio would expect her to check, and Hunter wasn't responsible for her black mood. Will a yes or no improve my chances of you staying? When he made the effort to smile, he moved up a notch from broody handsome to gorgeous. His slim-fitting jacket conveyed elegant vigour, adding another layer of sumptuousness to her impression. The fine cashmere wool of his jacket begged to be stroked. Don't go there. What's your specialty? She asked. She appreciated his style. His gaze hadn't once strayed below her chin, and her décolletage truly was shocking. She liked his persistence, truth be told. A lot of men turned tail when confronted with her acerbic tongue. He sipped his drink, drawing attention to his hand. Brown and scarred, reminding her of Neil, her sibling-in-law's hands. None of Hunter's scars looked recent, but the working man's hands reassured her as the expensive clothes and dynamic looks hadn't. I'm an architect by training, although I spent a lot of time on building sites growing up. Commercial, residential, industrial, sustainable, conservation. Excitement rippled through Anna. Maybe his arrival was an omen. Architect was her magic word. Hard to chat freely in this crowd. The twinkle in his eye hinted at a humour hidden until now. I'm interested in designs for a childcare centre. Anna abandoned subtlety. He stared at the ceiling and looked around the room before bringing his gaze back to her face. Truth or dare? She only had his word he was an architect. She took a punt on the history written on his damaged hands. One drink, downstairs bar. Shall we go? He might have been pleased or indifferent. His expression didn't change. I need to say a few goodbyes. I'll meet you there. She glanced at her watch. 10 minutes, tops. Anna finessed her way through the press of people to reach B's side. He's an architect. I'm having one drink, downstairs, and picking his brain. I'll text you when I leave. B caught her arm, held her long enough to brush a cautionary kiss to her cheek, and whispered, make sure you do, or I'll come after you. Her friend's citrusy shampoo carried the scent of girl next door reliable. Yes, Mama. Anna gathered her jacket and spoke to a few friends, all the while edging towards the door, then took the stairs. Hunter was crossing the last few metres to the bar's entrance when she hit the bottom step. For a big man, he moved quietly. Avoiding attention? Impossible, given the controlled power emanating from him. She'd accepted a drink, nothing more, so she shrugged into her jacket and zipped it closed. Hunter rose to his feet when Anna walked into the bar, his survey taking in the thigh-length jacket billowing around her dress. What can I get you to drink? Hot chocolate. She smiled at the waiter who'd approached. Please. I'll have coffee. Black. Can I start a tab? Certainly, sir. Thanks. Hunter waited until Anna sat on the low sofa before taking the seat next to her. His body was angled towards her, but the distance between them told her he wasn't making assumptions. Smart man. Why a childcare centre? Soft rock played in the background, giving the bar a friendly rather than intimate vibe. The spillover of escapees from the cocktail party talking business was a further vindication of Anna's choice of venue for this almost business chat. She had backup if needed. She didn't do casual hookups. Ever. A hot chocolate, a little conversation. She'd be out of here in 20 minutes. Tops. The company I work for has been growing in recent years. We've recruited some incredible young women, and if we want to keep them, we need decent childcare. Providing your own childcare is unorthodox, he said. Wouldn't it be easier to pay for places at another centre or subsidise employees to choose their own? Leaning back, he slipped the button of his jacket. His stylish T-shirt was the palest pink, more subtle than his pickup line, while his assessment was incisive. Been there, done that. She allowed herself to relax a bit, wriggling further back on the leather couch. When he stilled in response, his focus entirely on her, her stomach did a slow roll. She breathed through several heartbeats before she continued. My boss Antonio is a lateral thinker and a good man. A number of my fellow employees are single parents. Having their children nearby and having a say in how the centre runs gives them a greater sense of security. And an employee who feels listened to works harder. He spoke with the authority of someone who'd been both employee and employer. Establishing your own centre is a lot of work, he added. It would be, except that's not our plan. She lifted her head, wrinkling her nose. Coffee smells so much better than it tastes, says the woman who's about to drink a chocolate bar. He nodded at the waiter. Thanks. Look at it. She pointed at the frothy milk topping her mug, sprinkled with yet more grated chocolate. Decadent and delicious. Yours is inky evil. You obviously don't write the jingles, he said dryly. I started as a graphic designer. However, I'm currently strategic manager of promotions, she admitted. My job description includes creative thinker. Could have fooled me. He pushed a hand through his hair, mussing it. The hunter had loosened up in the last few minutes and dropped some of his emotional distance. Anna sensed his confusion, that she'd used some trick to relax him. What's your plan? He asked. We've got preliminary agreement from an existing reputable childcare provider for them to handle recruitment, staff registration and legal protocols. She'd sold the plan to Antonio in parts. We supply the premises and join the management board. Your boss plans to join the board? That's quite a commitment. Had he inched closer? His scent was too elusive to identify, beguiling, and she bet he knew it. I'll be on the board, she said. As I said, a big commitment. Love or money? He stretched his legs under the table, angling his body more toward her. Voluntary, but that's hardly relevant to our conversation. She wrapped both hands around her mug of chocolate. You should get time in lieu. He'd surprised her. Anna glanced at his bare left hand. In a just world, he'd be single. Pity they didn't live in a just world. Juggling charity work with full-time employment and raising a family is challenging, he said. Are you speaking from experience? She sipped her liquid chocolate bar, impressed by the smooth segue. He'd asked about her marital and family status without uttering the words married or children. Observation. His gaze rested on her mouth, the light in his eyes hotter than her drink. To answer your earlier question, I'm not married or a parent. What do you want from an architect? I found a suitable site. She channeled Antonio's positive thinking that they'd be able to negotiate a lease with the new owner. It's nearby, was an operating childcare centre until about 11 months ago, and with some refurbishment and a bit of creative thinking, will deliver exactly what we want. Creative thinking, that's where you come in, right? His focused study suggested he wanted to swallow her whole, while his beautifully sculpted mouth formed pertinent questions. The disconnect simultaneously teased her mind and set her insides quivering. Are you purchasing or leasing the building? Leasing. We'll need the owner's agreement to make changes, but we're looking long term, 5 to 10 years. So that would give the owner a guaranteed income. She took another sip, just to feel his gaze on her mouth. A captive architect and hot chocolate. Her day had improved. Possibly. Rents can fluctuate over a long period. He drained his cup, and it was her turn to watch his throat while he swallowed. A locked-in lease might deny the owner future profits. Not everything is about money. B was right. He could be an architect turned marketing entrepreneur. Ridiculous to be disappointed. Time to stop flirting and focus on her reason for being here. Almost everything. His baritone had dropped to a purr, but his focus on profits and returns had broken her mood. I'm not asking you about the lease, but about modifications to the building. Anna lassoed her soaring imagination and set her empty cup on the glass tabletop. Her body had naturally responding to him. Melting wouldn't do. And she hadn't been tempted on such short acquaintance since her bad girl teens.
Very nice. Okay, I have to make 2 comments and then I have a question. The first thing is, I love it when authors use vocabulary from other genres that is unexpected. So when you uttered the word troglodyte, my heart did a little pitter pat because that's usually not a word you hear in romance. So kudos for that. And then the
Thank
other
you.
thing is, I love this sparring match you've set up between internal and external dialogue. It's the meter of it is so much fun, and one line just builds on the next. It's an absolute delight. I'm so glad that you read this. This is so great.
I
So
was pleased with it at the end. It wasn't an agony, but yeah,
yeah,
happy
yeah,
with it.
it's very and it absolutely makes me want to read more, because if they're doing this on a first meeting, what's it gonna be like later in the story? That's where my brain, like, I love that exchange of wit and dry humor and internal evaluation. I love how you mix all that together. Very well done.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the next book. The next book is book 4, and I know it just recently came out. It's Little Baby, but
Yeah.
and you'll come back at another day to read that one for us, because
Okay.
I
All
really
right.
need to know. But can you
As
give us
as,
the segue?
as I said, the books can be standalone.
Mm-hmm.
And the choosing family idea is that people make the connections and build family around them. So in book 2, Quinn by Design, which is in your series, Lucy, the female character, had a few female girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And this next book is about one of her girlfriends.
Okay.
And Lucy had, her mother took off from the family home. And for the first 10 years of her life, Lucy didn't know anyone other than her mother. And then her mother died. And while they were trying to trace if she had any family at all, she went into a care home. And in that care home was this other girl. And because of the different adults who ended up being in their lives, they kept the 3 girls able to contact each other and grow
Okay.
up in contact with each other. So
Okay.
Lucy is her friend. And Lucy was in that care, no, sorry, not Lucy, the character in the next book, A Just Man, Kelly, was in that care home that night because she'd fled from a country town where a cop had lined her up and done an illegal strip search.
Okay.
And she'd fled. So here we are, 17 years later. She's grown up, she's got a job, and she's being posted to another country town. She's never gone back to live in country towns because of that memory. She thinks
Mm-hmm.
she should be over it by now. She should be able to deal
Oh,
with it. She has a dog.
okay.
She
Okay.
and so Boo is the name of the dog. So
Perfect. Perfect.
yes, so she's going back to this town and suddenly finds herself face to face with the cop, the
And
senior cop, the junior cop. There were 2 cops present. The junior cop finds
and I'm
herself.
guessing, and I'm guessing she finds herself in that situation not as emotionally fortified as she would have liked to have been.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
and and
great.
and he's also pretty stunned. Yes, I can't give you too much
No,
of
I don't
the
want you to,
backstory, but yeah,
but that's
yeah.
fantastic.
I had
So,
I had I had the scene. I had the scene for a long time of the actual strip search as a kind of a prologue. But this
uh-huh.
incident where she found her way to this country town and this thing happened and then she fled. And I kept thinking, what I want to do is think about these 2 people, who they are 15 years from now.
Hmm.
Is there any way they could be friends or anything more? What would have to change? Who would they have to be? What would have to go on?
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic character study. How cool.
But
Okay,
as you see, it's quite different from Betrayal.
sure, yes. How
Yeah,
fantastic. I love
yeah,
how you created standalones that also have overlap. This is
yeah.
fantastic. I
Mm.
really love this. Thank you so much for coming on the program. and reading for me again. And I know you'll be back because, okay, you're in Australia, but you know, I can still find out where you live.
That's right. That's right. I mean, no one's safe, are they?
Well, I have friends who travel, so there you go. Thank you so much for coming on the program again. I wish you continued success with your author career, and I just hope more and more people discover you because I think they'll be thrilled if they do.
Thanks,
Thank,
Diana.
thanks
It's
so
been a
much for
pleasure
your.
being.
I really appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thanks.